Good morning, guys. It is July 30th, Thursday, and I wanted to give you a little update quickly on earnings. Today we had a few companies report both after hours yesterday as well as this morning, and I want to go ahead and give you an update on some of those earnings plays that we're looking at for today. Um, in my next video, we'll go over the earnings from yesterday that we actually were able to take advantage of. Shopify was one of those. But I will, and it may be a good second day play too, so just take a look at Shopify as well. But let's go over the earnings for today. So yesterday after hours, we had a couple of companies report. Just overall S&P 500, it is down this morning a little bit from yesterday. I'm going to go ahead and show you the futures. Here's the ES futures. Um, you can see on the right side we've got the daily chart, and yesterday's bar uh, did pop up above this little consolidation, but it didn't get up to the prior high. And today it looks like we're at least starting the day off a little bit lower. This afternoon we have a ton of tech names that we're going to be looking at for earnings: Apple, Facebook, Google, Amazon. So we'll take a look at those, which is, going to make a good dent in the direction of this market anyway and get it out of this probably consolidation. Okay, so let's start with the couple of things from last night. So PayPal is one of the big companies that reported earnings last night, and it has popped above this all-time high of 183. Um, 185.44 was actually the all-time high. 183.93 was this prior high here. It did pop over that a little bit yesterday, but if we take that as the prior high, you can see it did pop all the way up to 197, pulled way back, and is starting to ramp up again. And PayPal actually had the best earnings, I think, of all the ones that reported last night. And so we're going to be looking for some continued upside in PayPal. We have some Fibonacci extensions here as targets. Uh, you know, Unfortunately, there's no actual technical targets that you can look at except for some extensions right now because it's at its all-time high. But you can see here, even if you look at the after-hours move, it has retraced probably a little bit more than 50% in the overnight, and it's bounced there. So that was really the thesis here with PayPal for me, and hopefully it doesn't bounce too much into the open because I'm looking for continued upside in PayPal. Its earnings reports, like I said, killed it, and I anticipate it to go higher from here, at least back to the 197 area. If not, the even number of 200 could be your first target, and then your second target's this 210. So that's PayPal. I'm looking for it to hold this level right here that it came down to, and then bounce up. So off the open, we're going to look at the first 1 minute and 5 minute bars for a potential trade above that to the 197 and then 200, 210 for other targets if it is strong in the morning. We don't want it to go back down below this area here, this 189 area. So if it starts to break down, we're not going to take a trade in it. I mean, it could break down and just gap fill in that point at that point. But honestly, I think PayPal's too strong to gap fill all the way back down. But the market is weak. But you can see it's already ramping up um, into the open. So if it gets too strong, we'll have to wait for a potential pullback for the second move. All right, that's PayPal. Second on the list is Qualcomm. Qualcomm had some great news, but additionally to that, it had a license agreement settlement with Huawei. So you see this huge spike down all the way to 88.20 from the close of 93. Then it spiked all the way up, probably on that news with Huawei. It did have good earnings, but you can see it's gone so far already. I believe, let's put it on the weekly. The all-time high was 100 in Qualcomm. I'm going to just pull this back to show you that as well. I did put some Fibonacci extensions on it to the 96.17 prior high, and you can see where those are. So we have two sets of extensions. One, which is the one the longer term one, that you have a 112 first target, and then the second target is, I think, way up here at around 139.38. And then you have this shorter term Fibonacci from the last low until the last high up here, right from here to this 93.4 area. And those extensions are here. One right here around 101, the second one about 115. You can see it's gone through the 101 already. So we have some targets. Round numbers are also targets. But Qualcomm, it has gone up quite a bit, and I think it might have a little bit of a pullback, at least to a 50% retracement of the move that it had in the overnight. So the close yesterday was 93.03. I'm going to go ahead and put a retracement off of that. It's not exact, which is fine, but we'll just say here's the 50% retracement, which actually coincides very well with the all-time high. So my trade on Qualcomm, at least initially, will be to fade the open for a retracement back down to the all-time high. That's the 50% retracement from the move in the overnight. Now, if it can't get below this midpoint here, we can use this as a first target. So the first target, which actually coincides with this extension, right, from this last low to the last high. So this could be your first target right around this 102 area, and then 100. So right now it's at 104, so that gives you $2 or $4 for the move. And potentially we'll be looking for a bounce at the all-time high. If it doesn't bounce there and continues to fall back, we've got the 61.8 as a target, and then of course the prior high of 96.17. I'm going to go ahead and put a level, like a price level there. So that it's not exact, so I'll change it up to make it a little more exact later. I want to get the video out to you guys first. All right, so that's PayPal and Qualcomm. What's next on the list? We had a few other things report. We'll look at UPS. Oh, and I think this chart's pretty messy, so excuse me. That reported this morning. This is the weekly on UPS. It's all the way up here past this all-time high, I believe, to this trend line here. So you can see this red trend line is this trend line right here, which is a complex trend line from 2016. So we can also put some Fibonacci extensions on this from the prior low of 82 to yesterday's high here. And so you have some targets as well. The 61% is up there around 150. Now UPS, if it can't hold this double top here, this 138.20, I would look for a fade back down to either the gap fill down here to the 125.31 area, or you could even look where did it close? 123.68. It looks like it's already fading off that. So 123.68 to 138.20, which is the high in the overnight. We're going to try to make it exact as possible, but we'll change it up a little bit. Okay. So you have these targets back down to the 50% retracement as well. So if it doesn't, go all the way down to 125 for a gap fill, you see it could go down to 131. So we'll be looking to fade UPS if it doesn't hold this 138.20 area. And I'm going to go ahead and put an alert there off the open. Again, first 1 minute or 5 minute bar. The market is weak today too on the open, so these short-term plays or short plays will be better than the long ones. Apache is next. Apache has crossed over this 1513, the last high, basically. It was just yesterday, day before yesterday, last week. Sorry, I'm looking at the weekly chart here. Last week's high is 1513. It's crossed above that. It's all the way about 1610 right now. You have this 1801 target, which is the start of this gap right here between 2046 and 1801. So you've got those two as targets to the upside. Apache also had some good earnings. Really it's not the best chart, right? So we're looking for, potentially a push up to the 1801 area in Apache. Sorry, that was the bonds alert. Bonds are up today as well. So the better trades for me would be PayPal, UPS, and Qualcomm. So those are the three that we're looking at this morning. I am sure that there were other trades to be taken this morning. I mean, there are other trades from some of the other earnings plays this morning, but those are the three key ones that we're talking about. Now, this afternoon, after hours, you need to be mindful of Apple, Google, and Amazon. So here's those charts just quickly. Apple, I mean, and I personally am looking for some weakness in these names. I don't think they're all going to just be going straight up. So here's Apple. You can see it has, some a topping tail here. So we'll be looking for continued weakness off Apple. Facebook, similar thing. There's weakness, and it's kind of a top here. So we'll be looking for it to stay below this last week's high here in this area, and maybe a break of this trend line down to this longer term trend line. So I'll be looking for weakness in Apple down to this trend line. But I'm not trading it before earnings. So we'll look at these again in the morning before tomorrow. So for now, let's focus on PayPal, which is ramping up still. Qualcomm, Qualcomm. All right, looking for a little fade off of Qualcomm, and then UPS. If I could type properly. UPS also looking for a fade. You see, it's already dumping off a little bit, and that's it. O'Reilly. Sorry, I'll talk a little bit about O'Reilly for 1 second. O'Reilly Auto Parts actually was really strong. And so that's another one we'll be looking at. It has pulled back quite a bit. It doesn't really move usually until the open. So again, it's at an all-time high. It's pushed all the way up to 490. So if it pulls back some, we'll be looking for a pullback to the 50% fib in O'Reilly, and then probably some continued upside. So I'm going to go ahead and put those numbers on here for you to the 490 area. And that's right around there. So it's already down at the 474 area, it looks like. But again, this stock doesn't really move until it opens. So we'll see where it opens and look for a fade down to 50% and then a potential bounce back. So those are the trades: UPS, PayPal, Qualcomm, potentially O'Reilly. And we will see you guys back here later on today for a recap of the big tech earnings and some potential trades for tomorrow. All right, have a great trading day. Happy trading. See you later.